Time to Great American Ballpark in downtown Cincinnati. We were waiting around for a lot of rain that quite frankly never showed up. I mean, it did not rain a single drop, but we kept being told, and the Reds were told that, you know, there was bad weather coming in and another cell behind the one that was originally here. Long and short of it is, you take a look at the skies above. A beautiful early evening in downtown. Reds have taken the field. Minnesota Twins in town for game 2 of 3. Reds winners last night. We look at Paul Molitor's starting lineup. Brian Dozier will lead off at second. Torrey Hunter in right. Joe Mauer at first. Trevor Plouffe, the third baseman. Eddie Rosario in center. Eduardo Nunez and out at shortstop tonight. It's Suzuki again behind the plate. Shane Robinson starts in left field, and Phil Hughes 6 up 6 down on the mound. 5 up 5 down. Very impressive 3.35 ERA for Red starter Anthony DeSclafani.
And really coming off a few outings in which Anthony DeSclafani, everything didn't go great, but he did not break. I mean, he's a guy that has only given up 1 earned run in his last start. 6 innings against Pittsburgh Pirates. That was in Pittsburgh. And he was tagged with a loss against his old team, the Miami Marlins, his previous start to that. But still in all, the body work that he has presented the Reds with this year, very impressive.
First pitch swinging is Brian Dozier, and this one is underway. And boy, look at the Reds defense. We don't see this kind of shift all that frequently from the Reds. And they have a big one on the very first pitch of the night.
Especially against a right-hander. I mean, normally when you see those defensive shifts, it's against a big power pull lefty. But Dozier is really a guy that is more of a number 2 or 3 hitter than he is a leadoff hitter. But he happens to be the hottest hitter on this ball club right now. That's why they've got him in the leadoff spot to try to kickstart the offense.
0-2 count on Dozier, and he's gone swinging. So good morning, good afternoon, and good night to begin this game by Anthony DeSclafani.
Well, he chased a pitch very similar to this last night and then got a hanging breaking ball from Mike Leake and popped it out of here. That really started the mini comeback that the Twins put on the Red starter, and that location was a good one there for DeSclafani. When all else fails, down and away is where you go.
Torrey Hunter now the batter. Hunter at 265, returning to the Minnesota Twins, a team which he began his major league career with, and is having a nice year. 11 home runs and 43 runs batted in. And apparently the Twins made a late change to their starting lineup. They have Danny Santana batting in the number 8 spot, and he is starting in left field in place of Shane Robinson. They're making all kinds of changes. Apparently no one was given word until the lineup card was actually exchanged. And as soon as we can sort it all out as to who's playing where, we will let you know. We do know Santana is in the number 8 spot. We understand he is playing center field, and now Eddie Rosario is playing left field. Well, those are the kinds of things you can think about when you're sitting through a 2-hour rain delay. I reckon.
Well, they didn't change the batting order except for the switch out with Santana in the number 8 spot. So yes, it was a broadcaster friendly change.
Yes, it was. And we appreciate that from Mr. Molitor. I'm sure he had us in mind. Pitch taken away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. We are delighted to have you with us. Thanks for hanging around. For many of you, you are probably dialed in over on our Fox affiliate or your Fox affiliate, wherever it is you may be, through Reds country. That one is blasted deep into the ninth. High fly ball deep left field, and that one flies out of here. Number 12 for Torrey Hunter.
Now 12 on the year for Torrey Hunter, RBI number 44. There was a time when Torrey Hunter he'd knock in 28, 29 just about every year. He's good for at least 20, and well on his way for that number so far. Getting better with age. He's made a real impact on this ball club. First year with the Twins this year, spent the last 2 years in Detroit. He was, of course, a Minnesota Twin for a long time, from the time he broke into the major leagues in 1997 all the way until 11 years later in 2007.
Counted 0-2 on Joe Mauer. 12 pitches for DeSclafani, 10 of them strikes. And he strikes out Mauer. 2 of those already tonight for the Reds right-handed.
You know, if you take a look at Anthony DeSclafani and you break it down like a scout on pitching would break it down, the first thing that impresses you about him is that he is able, oftentimes in his good games, to control the inside part of first base to a strike zone to a left-hander. You throw it on the first base side of home plate. That's a hard spot to throw for a right-hander, and he's been able to do that, and you can get a lot of people out, lefties and righties, if you can do that.
Trevor Plouffe, the third baseman, looks at a pitch low and away, ball 1.
Now, scouts will simply say arm side or glove side, and in his case, the first base side of home plate is glove side.
And that's where he went right there. On the outside corner to the right-handed batting third baseman. 1 ball and 1 strike. That full moon looks like a marble just hanging down from the skies above out there in straightaway center field. Or nearly a full moon, I guess, just short. Flare into shallow center, and that's going to drop between Suarez and Hamilton. A 2-out bloop single by Plouffe.
He ploufed it.
The Reds on defense, presented by Ford. Hamilton in center, Bird in left, Bruce in right. Same infield we saw last night. Want to get an update from Jim Day. He's all over the Brandon Phillips story per usual. Still no Brandon Phillips in the lineup. Jimbo?
Well, yesterday, as we told you, he did not take part in any batting practice or any activities on the field. It was just a treatment day for Brandon. And right now, I do not see him in the dugout. So I'm not sure of his availability tonight, to tell you the truth.
Check swing and a foul ball by Eddie Rosario and a strike 1. I think it's because you can't see Brandon. He's buried almost all the way down at the very, very end of the dugout, the furthest end away from you there, Jim Day. Sandwiched in between. Looks like Tony Cingrani, and I can't tell who the other is sitting to his right. Blocked by the pole there. This will be DeSclafani's ball, and that's all in the first inning. A home run by Torrey Hunter gives Minnesota a 1-0 lead. The Reds are coming up. brought to you by Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good. It's Skyline time. Look across from the Commonwealth into downtown. Great American Ballpark. Paul Brown Stadium along the shores of the mighty Ohio. Red starting lineup presented by Meyer. Hamilton de Jesus Votto. Frazier, Bruce Berg. Barnhart for a second straight night. Suarez, DeSclafani against Phil Hughes. And you see the numbers.
Former New York Yankee, second year with the Twins, had a very good year last year in which he won 16 games with good control. He no longer has a fastball that he once did. When he first came up with the Yankees, I mean, he threw pretty hard. He averaged 93, 94 with the fastball. That's down to 91, 92 now. But pitchability, yes, he's got it.
Hamilton took a ball one pitch and then swings and pops it up into short left field. So Billy retired, and here comes Ivan de Jesus Jr. But we tell you about the Minnesota defense presented by Ford. And here we hope we have it all straightened out. It is Rosario in left. Santana, who played shortstop last night, he's in center. And Hunter in right. Kluth, Nunez, Dozier, Mauer third to first, and Suzuki again behind the plate.
Well, maybe it's past Shane Robinson's bedtime.
It
or will be by the end of the game, and got to get him on out of there.
It might be.
Hughes, besides that four-seam fastball, he'll throw that about 55% of the time. Likes his cutter a lot, and that'll move away from a right-hander. He doesn't buy in too many sinkers. He's pretty much a guy that comes right after you with a fastball that's either straight or cut. His favorite off-speed pitch is a curveball.
Oh, 2 on Ivan de Jesus Jr.
And there it is.
And he missed badly. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Best year Hughes had was his 4th year in the major leagues. He was 18-8 with the New York Yankees that year, and he got those 18 wins by pitching only 176 games. That was 2010.
Hot smash and a diving play made by Nunez.
Good contact.
Well, look, Hughes is not missing many bats this season. In 98 2/3 innings, he's given up 110 hits and 17 home runs.
Which is a far cry from last year, because last year he pitched 209 innings and gave up only 16 home runs. So he has given up more home runs this year in 98 innings than he did all of last year in 32 starts. The other amazing thing about his year last year is that and 16 seems to be the operative number. He won 16 games, gave up 16 home runs, and only walked 16 batters. Sweet 16 for Phil Hughes.
Indeed, his control is just remarkable. There's that breaking ball that drops in there to Joey. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know, and as you watch Hughes pitch, he pitches as compact as a 6'5" pitcher can be. Very short arm swing, no big, lot of movement. There's got to be a lot of deception, and the ball must get on hitters before they seem to think that it gets on them, or else a guy who throws the ball that straight would not have 78 wins in the major leagues.
Votto checks in at 284, 14 home runs and 38 runs batted in. And the whole Minnesota defense took 2 steps towards the third base dugout, thinking that was strike 3. David Rackley, the home plate umpire, says not so fast. A shade low. Cano shoots it the other way. Sinking liner caught by the left fielder Rosario, and that's all as the Reds are retired in order. 1-0 Minnesota at the end of an inning. MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Statcast, radio broadcast, live look-ins. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet tonight. A lot of baseball left to be played here in 2015. Be nice to have that. A Torrey Hunter solo home run in the first inning, the only run as we begin the second. Eduardo Nunez starts tonight at shortstop. 286, couple of home runs, 10 runs batted in. Nunez with 11 doubles. A lot of other games, of course, well into action tonight, and everybody back in action on this Tuesday night. Cubs in the bottom of the 9th inning, a 1-0 lead over the Mets. How many games have the Mets been involved with like that? 3 in a row over the weekend with these Reds. Pirates a 3-1 lead in the 7th at Detroit. Cardinals 1-1 with the White Sox at Busch Stadium in the 4th. High bouncing. That is a fair ball. This will be a 2-base hit for Eduardo Nunez, his 12th of the year.
That was the kind of hit the Reds got a lot of last night. Found a lot of holes last night. Not all the balls that the Reds hit in their 17 hits were sharply hit or line drives. So some nights you have nights like that, and as a pitcher you saw the frustration on Mike Pelfrey last night.
One of the catcher, Suzuki.
Sorry, Tom, but you know the one thing that I thought was very interesting during the rain delay, Tom, and this crowd, a lot of them stayed, obviously.
They did.
A little buzz going on here because they showed on the big board the American women's victory over Germany tonight in the soccer. It's an exciting game.
Really exciting.
That got people really fired up.
Yes, it did. That's a good point.
I mean, it was better than watching the radar.
Yep. And that means the United States women's team advances on to the finals of the FIFA World Cup. And the finals, by the way, will be on Fox, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday night. And They will meet the winner of tomorrow night's other semifinal game between England, a surprise winner over Canada in the quarterfinals, or Japan, who knocked the United States out of the World Cup the last go round. This will advance a runner on a ground ball to the second baseman. 1 out here in the Minnesota second inning. Now the Reds are going to bring their infield in with Nunez at third. The number 8 batter, center fielder Danny Santana, steps in. Santana, a switch hitter. First pitch swinging, fouls it away. He played the entire game last night, knocked in a run with a base hit, a single in that 6-run 4th inning against Mike Lee. He struck out twice and put down a sacrifice bunt.
Well, up in the Twin City area, they are asking the real Danny Santana to please stand up. Last year, this young man as a rookie had a tremendous year. He batted almost .320. This year, that batting average has dropped 100 points.
Votto coming to the plate, little late on the trigger. Maybe couldn't find the handle, and then he airmails the catcher Barnhart.
And I'm wondering if there was maybe a little indecision, perhaps, maybe not. I don't know. A double pump right there, a sidearm throw. You know, when you bring the infield in, you know where you're coming with it. And I think he set his feet and just threw it wide.
I almost wonder if he couldn't find the grip.
That's probably it. That's too bad, because you get a ground ball right at the guy and you're hoping for an out. So now a 2-0 lead.
So it'll be an RBI for Santana. That's ruled a fielder's choice. And no error on the play because the runner did not advance from first to second base. One on the pitcher Hughes, already shortening up the bunt. This is his first plate appearance this year. In their earlier games during interleague play, he did not get a trip to the plate. Big man, 6'5", 250-pounder is Phil Hughes. So 2-0 Minnesota. Single runs in each of the first 2 innings. Oh boy. Votto is not even holding the runner on, and now Frazier dropped the ball. This is about as ugly as it gets right here on multiple fronts.
Now there'll be at least one error on this. Maybe 2 as the ball goes over Votto's head. That's a mix-up in communication there between DeSclafani and Votto. So the error goes to the pitcher, and Frazier looks like he's got the ball in his glove and just can't squeeze it. Maybe tried to apply the tag just a hair too soon.
And they won't give Frazier an error because the umpire never made an out call, and then the tag was made and the ball squirts loose. Then maybe they give Frazier an error, but they will not. It is a throwing error on DeSclafani. A 2-base throwing error. So now the infield in again, and Hughes will swing away. 1-2. Fastball sails outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the pitcher Hughes.
Phil Hughes looking for his first major league hit. For a guy that's been around as long. Of course, he played in the American League for the Yankees for so long.
Runner will stay put. De Jesus throws out Hughes for the second out of the inning. Got to look at Bob Davidson. He's the umpire down at third base tonight. And I would imagine he is the acting crew chief tonight. That's a guess, because the crew chief of this crew is Jerry Lane. He is not here tonight. Ben May replaces him out at second base with Hunter Wentelstadt over at first. And now Dozier. Once more, the Reds put on the big defensive shift for this right-handed batting Minnesota leadoff man.
Well, if they really wanted to shift and take advantage of the shift, even with a man on third here, Dozier's got this area on the right side of the infield. Votto would have to field and beat him to the bag.
And that would be virtually impossible.
And meanwhile,
he bunted it right at the bag.
And if you bunted it hard enough at Votto that he had no choice except to field the ball, you've got yourself a hit and an RBI.
Hopped up behind the plate, and Barnhart will run out of room.
I mean, just think about that for just a second, laying the bunt down, just from a statistical standpoint. If Dozier's a pretty good player, and he's hitting about 300, right, or 265. Lately he's hitting better, but 265. Right. So roughly 3 out of 10 times, 2.5 out of 10 times. How many times could you lay the bunt down the right side of the infield and get it down? If you did it 4 out of 10 times, you probably wouldn't be very happy with yourself, because you say, well, I should be able to do it more than that. But that would be a lot better than what you're hitting right now, especially with runners in scoring position at 2 outs. We showed you that 176 average. Jump turning into a sabermetrics guy right before your very eyes.
I tell you, it's impressive. On swinging. Single runs in each of the first 2. Minnesota leads 2-0.
Top 4 moments of the month. We gave you number 4 during the rain delay. Here is number 3. June 9th, here at Great American Ballpark versus the Phillies. Joey Votto, a home run in the 3rd, a home run in the 5th, and a home run in the 7th in an 11-2 Reds victory. He became the first Red since Johnny Bench to hit 3 home runs, or have 3 home run games on 3 different occasions. Elite company joining JB. Moments
Yes,
1 and 2 coming up. Sorry, Tom.
That's all right, Jim Ding. Todd Frazier down a strike. Reds down 2-0 as a bat here in the 2nd inning. And that ball is in the air, driven into deep left center field. It will go to the wall. And Todd Frazier continues to lead the league in extra base hits. He adds another one here with his 22nd double.
Boy, it just sounds so good when he centers it. You talk about a hanging breaking ball. It's right there for you, Todd. Just listen. That's the kind of sound that gives pitchers nightmares. Wakes them up in the middle of the night. The way Frazier hits the ball like that.
You still wake up occasionally, do you?
You know, sometimes when I'm worried about oversleeping, I'll use that bat on ball sound for my alarm. And I'm up ready to go, believe me. In fact, I get up and duck.
Here's Jay Bruce. He looks at a pitch up and away, chased it, strike 1. But that at least gets you going.
Oh, yeah.
You jump up and duck.
I'm ready.
Back-to-back fastballs. Bruce, the last 2 weeks, a .431 on base percentage, slugging percentage up over 700. He's been nearly a .400 batter. 6 doubles, 3 home runs, 4 walks, and 11 driven in. Wow, those are big league numbers. This one is popped up behind the plate and out of play.
Well, you're going to see a lot of pop-ups, a lot of fly balls when you face Phil Hughes. I mean, you can't measure his stuff by the velocity of his fastball. It's sneaky. It gets on you. He pitches up in the zone. This may not be the best ballpark for him to pitch half of his starts. But the ballpark up in Minnesota, which does not give up very many home runs, is not bad for a fly ball pitcher.
Well, this one in the air, short right center field, will not advance a runner on the 3rd. And that's out number 1 here in the Reds' 2nd inning.
Well, he has had 4 fly ball outs on the night. Phil Hughes has, and coming into the ball game tonight, 123 puts him 2nd in the league of the most fly ball outs. Does not include those fly balls that have gone out of the ballpark. Mark 17 of those. And there are some ballparks, obviously, you know, you take a look at it and say, well, this guy's a dead fly ball pitcher. It may not be the best place for him. They said that about Matt Latos here at Great American Ballpark. Really didn't turn out that way.
No,
he figured out how to come in. He figured out how to keep it in the yard.
He had an incredible run here at home. Frazier leadoff double, and Marlon Byrd the batter. There's not a lot of guesswork here with Hughes.
You know, it's funny how some guys throw it at 96 and they're getting tattooed, and other guys are throwing it. He's throwing it between 89 and 91. I presume the 89 is his cutter, but he's throwing it right down the middle, seemingly, and right by them. I mean, Bird's not the only one to swing through a fastball. He never really lets you see the baseball, though. If you watch Hughes take the ball out of his glove, and if you make believe that you're right behind home plate, you never see the ball until it's on its way. You can't follow the track of his arm where he shows you the ball the whole time, and you can kind of get into a little bit of a tempo with him.
Runner at second, 1 out, 1 ball, 2 strikes to Bird. And that one in the air. Right center field. And Torrey Hunter makes a catch. Told you Santana was playing shortstop here last night, and a veteran Hunter says, let me handle it, son. Tucker Barnhart coming off a career night last night. First time in his career he had 4 hits in a game, but heck, he's just getting warmed up. In the driver's seat, brought to you by Kia. 12 for his last 20 is Tucker Barnhart. That ball in the air to left field, so after a leadoff double, Frazier never moves. Next 3 retired in order on fly balls. End of 2. Minnesota 2, the Reds nothing. Your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag #OhioDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself during an upcoming telecast of Reds baseball. It's all brought to you by T-Mobile. All right, Chris Welsh, here we go to the 3rd inning. We waited 2 hours to get this one started, and that guy's just thrilled to be here. Getting up and dancing a little bit. About 9:50 at night.
That's just about the time they are getting going anyway in the summertime, about that age, right?
That's about right. Well, that's when they would like to get it going. But that's when mom and dad step in and say, well, sometimes. Hunter hit one a long way his first time up to the seats in left center field. Beyond that 379 mark. There's that young guy we just saw a moment ago. You know, his family putting down hard-earned money to come to a ball game. Not going to hear no tonight. They're going to hang around and enjoy this. Looks like you had some brothers and sisters, perhaps family there, the whole gang. And he must be the smart one of the group. He is sitting the furthest away from mom and dad. That's Nagel. That's out there in the Forest Hill School District. If that's the same Nagel. Nagel Junior High School, the feeder into both Anderson and Turpin High Schools out there.
Did you go to Nagel?
No, it used to be Anderson Middle School.
Okay.
Of course, that was right around the end of the Second World War, and that was the original Anderson High School, that building that became Anderson Middle School. What a great old building that was. It was a shame. And for those who don't know, you know, out in Anderson, it was growing so fast, kind of like Mason and Westchester have, and over about the last decade, and they formed a new high school. That's when Turpin High School came about. There's a swing and a miss, and that's 4 strikeouts for DeSclafani.
Well, you really got to like the way that Tucker Barnhart behind the plate, he is almost coaxing his pitcher. Brian Pena does this a lot too when he gets into that really low stance where he spreads his leg out and gets really low. I mean, you can see Barnhart just trying to visually communicate with DeSclafani. Get it down here. I want it way down here. And believe me, as a pitcher, that really helps. Because ideally, a pitcher will take a piece of equipment or maybe a spot on the catcher's mitt, maybe as small as a dime, and say, that's my target. Not the glove, not the catcher, but something really small, and aim at that small little spot.
Right where it came from, bang to the center field off the bat of Joe Mauer. Well, a reminder, coming up a little bit later on, we'll have our Miller Time moment. And that is brought to you by Miller Lite. I know you'll be looking forward to that. Last night we talked about the duo, our Miller Time moment. And the duo of Barnhart and Eugenio Suarez combining for 7 base hits in the 7 and 8 spots in the batting order last night. High tapper. Suarez, 1, and they turn it over. Nicely done. Nicely done by Suarez and De Jesus Jr. Energy, Eugenio Suarez. Chris, this guy with a bat has really been impressive.
Well, he's got such a good swing, nice path to the ball, not a lot of wasted loop in the swing at all, and he's got some power when he gets his pitch. Last 8 games, he's been turning it on, too. .433 batting average, 5 multi-hit games.
Had 3 hits in a game for the 4th time in his very brief Major League career here last night. And a 2-run double, a single, a stolen base, a suicide squeeze bunt single, a second stolen base. 0-2 on Suarez. DeSclafani to follow, them back to the top of the order. Billy Hamilton to a 3rd. Reds are trailing 2-0. Hughes to lose. Here's a fastball cutting a little bit low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. is clobbered to deep center field. Santana looks up. Goodbye. We were just talking about it. There is some major league pop in this guy's back.
Yeah, I'm not so sure he's going to end up being a number 8 hole hitter after all, but it is sure nice to have some power down at the bottom of the lineup.
So the Reds on the board. A 2-1 game. That's the 18th home run allowed by Hughes. This ball lifted into right center field. It will be handled by Santana. DeSclafani retired for out number 1. Billy Hamilton shows bunt, pulls the bat away. He swung at a 1-0 pitch leading off the Reds' first inning and popped up to the left fielder. Billy had a nice game here last night. Real nice start to the game last night. Then those last 2 at bats he popped up after he had a bunt single, scored a run, walked twice, stole 3 bases, had an infield hit, stole another base, his 4th of the night.
I heard something amazing at dinner tonight. You know, there are a lot of scouts here following these ball clubs around. I don't get any information as to who they're following on the Reds, but I can tell you that there's a lot of stopwatches in this ballpark too. And last night on that bunt, the first base that Billy Hamilton had, he was safe at first. He got down the line, and believe me, they checked their watches and stopwatches twice, and then again after that. One scout had Billy Hamilton down the line from home to first at 3.34, which is Mickey Mantle territory. The other, who brought it up, said I had him at 3.31, which is about as fast as it gets from the time that ball made contact with his bat until he stepped on first base.
And when you're saying as fast as it gets, you're talking about as fast as it gets all time.
All time.
Well, he's about to put the key in the ignition. Started 2 and stopped. Strike 1 on De Jesus. Now, what about running on Phil Hughes?
Well, you can do it. 6 with speedy runners. Obviously, I think you run as much on Suzuki as anybody here. Hughes has given up 6. They've thrown out 2.
You saw that note a moment ago. Boy, there's a name from the past. Roger Cedeno. God, dang, could that guy run. Remember him?
Yeah. Now, last year against Hughes, a lot better. They ran 14 times or 15 times, were only thrown out once. Inching off is Billy. Well, the #1 weapon, and Hughes has been around. I mean, he's been around for 9 years. And the #1 weapon a right-handed pitcher uses is simply hold the ball varying amounts of time. Because you're not going to pick a guy off unless you have quick as feet as Johnny Cueto.
That's double play ball all the way here. And that's the way things will end in the Reds' 3rd inning. But they do get a home run off the bat of Eugenio Suarez. It's a 2-1 Minnesota lead. Buy view level tickets for any game this weekend with the Brewers in town for just $10. But you have to go to reds.com/FSOhio right now. Use the code word FSOhio15 and get your $10 view level tickets. The offer is good only during our game tonight. So jump on right now. We played 3. Minnesota a 2-1 lead. Eddie Rosario against Anthony DeSclafani. Will be followed by Eduardo Nunez and Kurt Suzuki. DeSclafani allowed a solo home run in the first inning to Torrey Hunter. A leadoff double by Nunez in the second. A couple of ground balls brought him in. This one hooked into right field, and the leadoff man aboard for the second time in 4 innings tonight against DeSclafani.
Well, Rosario is a threat to run. They really like him. He's a young guy. He can play any of the outfield positions. He normally plays one of the corner spots. And in this ball club with Torrey Hunter and right, he plays a lot of left. 6 stolen bases, been thrown out a couple of times.
Nunez chopped a double over the third baseman Frazier's head down the line and scored in the second inning. Afternoon tilt will wrap up this series tomorrow. That's a 12:35 first pitch. Johnny Cueto takes a ball for the Reds. Right-hander Trevor May will start it for Minnesota. The Reds will really enjoy an off day on Thursday. Man, oh man, will they enjoy that. It has been a brutal 3-week stretch for the Reds. Especially when you consider some of the travel, all of the rain delays. They played, what, 3 13-inning games in the last little less than 2 weeks. And all 3 of those games had weather that stopped play.
I saw a stat during our pregame show tonight, Tom, that the Reds have averaged a rain delay 1 every 5 games.
Ball for Nunez, and that's a 5th strikeout tonight. The 15 rain delays is now 15, including tonight, for a total of 21 hours, nearly 1 full day worth of rain delays. You've had 3 postponements, 1 suspended game. And really, for everybody in the quote-unquote traveling party, not only the players, but the trainers, the coaches, the manager, strength and conditioning coach, and even those of us up here in the booth, although Chris, you and I have caught a break on a couple of those because they were not games on Fox Sports Ohio. But man, it's been a lot of nights of getting to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, and quite a few of getting to bed at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
You're right.
And tonight will be another one of those nights, not getting started till after 9 o'clock. Fastball in there, a strike.
Yeah, the other thing you mentioned, I thought was worth mentioning, is that off day that they'll have will not be a travel off day. So many of the days you have off on a major league season are days in which the team will travel. So if the team is a Sunday game, and then they have a next game on Tuesday somewhere out of town, well, they will travel in the afternoon on Monday. So it's really not a day off where you can spend the entire day with your family, you know, cook at home or take everybody out to dinner or go to a movie or just relax all day long. You're packing your suitcases and you're heading out in the afternoon.
You're saving all that for the winter.
Yep. you hope the winter is nice and short, meaning you're playing it in November.
That one stung off the bat into left field by Suzuki. And Rosario on to second base. 2 on, 1 out.
Now this is where the Reds really need to keep an eye on that lead runner Rosario at second base. You don't want him nabbing third base with the number 8 hitter up with 1 out. And it looks like it's going to be Suarez, the shortstop, that'll be assigned to pretty much jockey him back and keep him close.
Santana hit that hot smash right at Joey Votto with a runner at third in the second inning. The Reds were unable to throw out the runner coming down the line from third. That was Nunez who scored. One and one on Danny Santana. After that off day on Thursday, the Milwaukee Brewers come into town. Haven't seen them in quite a while. Brewers are in the 6th inning. Obviously, they've played through some little bit of a rain delay in Philadelphia tonight. After Milwaukee won the first game of that series last night, 2-2 game tonight. Both runners will advance.
Looks like a changeup that was meant to be down and away. So when it goes the other way and you have the catcher spread, leg spread like that, he really can't move his whole body over there. He's got to make a stab at that and try to backhand that ball. And Tucker Barnhart wasn't able to come up with it. That's the one downside of spreading out real low, because you really can't move around much back there to use your body to block.
So now 2-2 on Santana. This is where you get into that debate, and really nobody's right and nobody's wrong. You know, what'd you think about putting Santana on? You have the pitcher due up next, who, as Chris mentioned, has never had a major league hit. And then the leadoff man after the pitcher, DeSclafani, has already fanned Dozier twice in the game. Foul out of play.
Well, it's interesting the way the Reds are playing it, because in a situation like this in the second inning, at least with a runner at third base, they bring the infield in. Here they're going to give up the run. If Santana can get it on the ground to somebody other than the pitcher, definitely, or maybe even Todd Frazier.
Mm-hmm. Well, they went after the number 8 hitter, and DeSclafani gets him to chase a fastball up in his zone. It's a big strikeout for Anthony and the Reds.
Strikeout number 5 on the night, and it came at a good time. A nice 4-seamer right around the letters, and that is our flamethrower, brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce. 92 on the radar gun. Well, that's a key strikeout. I think they like to see DeSclafani do that a little bit more. You know, pitch down, pitch down, pitch down. When you need a strikeout, you run that little 4-seamer upstairs.
All right, now the pitcher to retire to get out of this inning unscathed. Twins have had a base runner in each of the front 4 innings of this game. 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third, 2 hits here in the fourth. Twins lead 2-1. Second and third, 2 outs. 1-0 to Hughes. Becomes 2-0. Suarez behind the bag, and a good throw to Votto, and that'll end the inning. Excellent work by DeSclafani. 2 hits, 2 left. Minnesota still with a 2-1 lead.
An event comes along that actually touches your life, and I had that experience this morning as the Reds and the Reds Community Fund hosted the Miracle League at the Reds Urban Youth Academy. 55 families and some wonderful youngsters this morning took part in an event which 4 Reds players were also there to play with the kids, and that would be Tucker Barnhart, Michael Lorenzen, Eugenio Suarez, and Ivan De Jesus Jr. There were stations, and each player went around and gave individual attention to these kids. You see a group shot right there. And I got to tell you, they also got some authentic uniforms, each kid with their name on the back. And you should have seen the smiles on these kids' face this morning. I want to tell you, it was priceless. It touched my heart. And I salute the Reds Community Fund, the Reds, and those Miracle League families. Great event today.
It was earlier today. The players were out there. Jim, you were out there. And it's unbelievable when you talk to the parents, grandparents, guardians, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters of those children that are able to play baseball thanks to those Miracle League fields. There are no words to describe how they feel watching their son or daughter participate in a baseball game. Fly ball to left center field by Joey Votto, and that's the way the beginning happens for the Reds here in the 4th inning. They're trailing 2-1. And here comes Frazier, who doubled into left center field his first time up. Man, what a year this guy is having. .25 home runs, .290 batter, 54 runs batted in, 22 doubles, knocking on the door of 10 stolen bases. He is just having an incredible year. Popped up into foul ground. It appears to be play, and it is for Mount. If a Red hits a home run off that Toyota sign, and the best bet in a Reds uniform tonight is a man coming up, that'd be Jay Bruce. Angela Epure from Cincinnati will win that beautiful Tundra. And you can register for your chance to win in an upcoming game. Just stop by your Cincinnati and or Northern Kentucky dealer. 2 up, 2 down. Here in the Reds 4. And that one pulled foul out of play by Bruce. Strike 1. Jay flied out to the center fielder his first time up. And that strike three called on the outside corner, and Jay knew it. First strikeout of the night for Hughes. He works a perfect fourth. Go to the fifth. 2-1 Minnesota in front. Ford dealer. Ford, go further by Meyer. Find more for a healthier you at Meyer. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking third in the country on U.S. News and World Report's best children's hospitals in America. We welcome the families and the youngsters that might be dialed in tonight from over at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. We hope you're having a good day today. Reds are down 2-1 as the Twins come to bat against Anthony DeSclafani here in the fifth. Top of the order, Dozier, Torrey Hunter, Joe Mauer.
Interesting line really for Dozier in 2 games if you look at it. He hit that 3-run home run last night in the 4th inning. That was a 2-run home run that he hit.
Oh, 3-run home.
3-runner. But he has struck out 5 times, 1 for 7. And the Reds are essentially, well, he's got a base hit right here, but the Reds are essentially giving him a base hit if he wants to lay the butt down on the right side. But he takes it the good old-fashioned way right there with a line drive up the middle.
That'll bring up the Pine Bluff, Arkansas native Torrey Hunter. Hunter is such an interesting young man, very outgoing, extroverted. And a hit and run is executed to perfection as he shoots that one into right field. And here come the Twins against DeSclafani. Back-to-back singles. Runners on the corners and nobody out.
Well, you can't draw it up and see it any better than that right there with Torrey Hunter with just a super swing. A pitch down, doesn't try to do too much. Just solid baseball there. That's Paul Molitor kind of baseball, you know, because he was the kind of guy that if he knew where the infielder was going to vacate, he could hit the ball that spot. That's how talented he was with the bat.
Here's Joe Mauer. He is struck out and singled into center field. He looks at ball one low. You know, it's funny. You hear so many times people talk about Paul Molitor and all the injuries he had in his major league career. I mean, everybody that was around, boy, it's a shame this guy was hurt as much as he was hurt. But the bottom line is he still accumulated over 3,000 major league hits. But the stat that I couldn't believe it when I read it is that Paul Molitor has the 9th most at-bats in the history of the game.
Well, they wrote when he had that 39-game hitting streak that it wasn't amazing that he had a 39-game hitting streak. It was amazing that he played 39 games in a row.
That went into center field. Hamilton will just throw it into second base. That'll be a sac fly RBI by Mauer, and the Twins lead goes back to 2 for the second time tonight. 3-1 game. That's just good solid baseball. Single, hit and run, single, fly ball, not going to run.
Well, it didn't take him long to get into the Hall of Fame. 2004, that was a no-brainer right there. 7 times on the All-Star team, 4 times Silver Slugger, 93 World Series MVP. That was with Toronto. And 21 seasons overall. 3rd pick in the draft, 1977.
And we told you he is the manager of his hometown team. That's where he was born and raised.
Had more than 200 hits in 4 separate seasons. 3 times he led the league in hits. He was really a doubles machine, not really a lot of home runs. If you remember his batting style, he was very still at the plate. I mean, he never moved a muscle until he decided to swing the bat. And there are a lot of hitting coaches that'll say, well, I can't teach hitting like that because I've got to have my guys have a little bit of rhythm. Not everybody can hit like Paul Molitor.
One and 2 on Trevor Plouffe. Molitor replaced Ron Gardenhire, who was the hand-picked successor by the man he preceded, longtime Minnesota manager Tom Kelly. I mean, they went, you know, nearly 30 years and had only 2 guys running the show, Kelly and Gardenhire, and they would stay with those guys through, you know, really thick or thin. Gardenhire had a number of playoff teams. You documented some of their, you know, postseason shortcomings during the telecast last night after Gardenhire had taken over for Kelly, who won a pair of World Series in '87 and again in '91. But the last 4 years were very hard on a real good baseball man and a very good baseball manager in Ron Gardenhire. I mean, the basically talent pool was next to nothing. They lost 90 or more games 4 straight years, 3 times finishing dead last in the American League Central, and that'll beat a good man down. Should be 2 here to win the inning, and it is. But for the 3rd time in 5 frames, a scoring inning for Minnesota. Twins lead 3-1. Kids 14 and younger receive a Brandon Phillips poster presented by Meyer. That's his Sunday. Plus, make sure to take advantage of special family ticket offers. We have some great ones here. We have mascot races, face painters, games, and so much more. 381 REDS or Reds.com/family. Sean Marshall sitting alongside Brandon Phillips tonight. A couple of Southern guys there. Sean Marshall is a Virginian. And of course, Brandon Phillips, a Georgian. It will be interesting to see if we watch Sean Marshall pitch this year. You go back to that story where they went in there thinking that he needed surgery. Turned out he didn't. Once they got in there, at least the surgery they thought they were going to perform. As Bird taps out to third to begin the 5th inning.
Well, it's about as good of news as Sean Marshall could ever expect.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a situation like that, I mean, he thought he was in there for another major surgery in his shoulder that, just never seemed to come around. They just decided it was, a little scar tissue that had not released, and he'll be back on the bump hopefully sooner than later.
Tucker Barnhart flied out to left field, his only time up. 3 runs, 8 hits for the Twins in 5 innings. Through 4+, 1 run, 3 hits for the Reds. Suarez with a home run, and the Reds have their 4th hit of the night.
Boy, he is locked in right now, isn't he?
Sure is. Well, you and I were talking in between innings about making adjustments, and the one knock on Tucker Barnhart, while he was piling up all the defensive awards as a catcher coming up through the Reds organization, many wondered, Chris, could he hit at the big league level? And then you talked about the adjustments. He finally came to the conclusion that, look, if I'm going to stay here, I do have to hit. So we're going to change my approach a little bit.
And the adjustment that he made is just cut the swing down. Just make contact. Let the bat do the work. Take a single. And I'm wondering if maybe he was watching Brian Pena. Because Pena's done that as much as anybody on his ball club. I mean, he's such a good 2-strike hitter. And he takes what the pitcher gives you, hits the ball the other way, has that little separation between his bottom hand and top hand, so he doesn't really have the bat speed to hit a lot of home runs, but hey, he'll take the base hits. And I'm wondering if maybe Tucker Barnhart's watching him saying, it's working for him. Why not give it a shot?
Well, if you can't open your eyes and open your ears to guys that have made a living for a long time, like Brian Pena, who's been in the big leagues for a number of years already and appears to be hanging around for many more years to come. I mean, you'd be a fool not to take advantage of seeing what they're doing right.
Well, this season they have had their share of 4-hit games. First pair of Reds catchers with 4-hit games since Ryan Hannigan, Ramon Hernandez back in 2011. You can play a long time at the major league level as a catcher. You don't have to be a star catcher. You don't have to be the next Johnny Bench to do it. I mean, look at all the years on and off. I mean, he didn't get a ton of service time, but Corky Miller has been up and down in the major leagues forever before he finally decided to retire. David Ross, another great example of a guy that's etched himself out a really great major league career. And you learn to adjust. You do what you do well, you try to make it as good as you can, and then you improve on the other stuff. Tucker's got a chance to be around a while.
I mean, guys like Eddie Perez and Henry Blanco, and there are so many others. But you're right. The David Ross example is about as solid as it gets.
There's always a team looking. Even if you're not a frontline catcher, there's always a team looking for a solid backup catcher. That they feel good enough about you that if their front guy goes down for a long time, that you're ready to step in and catch every day.
Strike 3 called to Suarez. 2 away. So now DeSclafani, he flied out to center field his only time up. Minnesota a 3-1 lead. Reds batting here in the last of the 5th inning. Anthony has 5 hits and 28 at bats. 1 run batted in. Cubbies behind Kyle Hendricks blanked the Mets tonight 1-0. Cardinals and the White Sox tied at 1 in the 8th inning. And the Pirates and the Tigers are in the bottom of the 9th tied at 4. This one in the air behind the plate and out of play. Latos, another solid performance tonight for the Marlins. He beat the Giants by a final count of 5-3.
It's a team that traditionally he had problems with.
Washington Nationals take care of Atlanta 6-1 behind Jordan Zimmerman. Barnhart at first base. 1 ball 2 strikes. A count on DeSclafani. 2 out in the inning. And a little flare into shallow center, and it's going to fall in a base hit. 6th hit of the season for DeSclafani. And this Reds 5th inning continues.
Now that gives him the most hits of any pitcher on this staff. He came into the ballgame tied with Cueto, Leake, and Lorenzen with 5 hits each. It's a pretty good this is a pretty good hitting pitching staff the Reds have here this year,
especially Lorenzen. That guy can hit.
He's got 3 ribbies to show for it. Although you count up all those RBIs, and you see how many Steven Matz had in his first game.
You're right. That ball into left center field, but there to get it. Nearly lost in the lights, it appeared, was Rosario. 2 hits, 2 left, end of 5, a 2-run Minnesota lead.
starting lineup without Brandon Phillips tonight. I'm Jim Day. We're counting you down. Top moments of June. We gave you moments 4 and 3. Now we're to number 2, and we will call these moments plural because it's a plethora of the man you just saw, Brandon Phillips. Let's take it to June 9th versus the Phillies. That flip, backhand flip, which he had to throw it over Votto to the pitcher. And then how about a 4-6-3 double play involving Kozar later in that game. 25th at Pittsburgh. What a play this was right here. It was not only, well, you can call it behind the back toss, I guess technically, but that had some mustard on it, as we've talked about before. That was a behind the back throw to Eugenio Suarez. Moments number 2 from Brandon Phillips.
You know what, though, Jim Day, I always like, because you know, the back and forth, the ribbing, the camaraderie that you and Brandon have had low these many years of some of the lines that, you know, he'll come up with to you about his play, and he certainly doesn't lack from confidence.
Not a humble guy, but again, if you can back it up, it's not bragging, and he certainly backs it up, and he practices those plays day in and day out. No one works harder during batting practice to take an infield than that guy. He practices what he preaches, preaches what he practices in this case, because he practices that a lot.
You know, I'm glad you said that, Jim Day, because sometimes people will see the way he does it in a flashy manner and say, well, his fundamentals are terrible. But if you come out here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and watch him take ground ball after ground ball with one of those training gloves, the gloves that don't have a pocket in it and there's really no fingers, it's like a pie. It's like a pie plate. And I mean, over and over and over again. That's the only way you get good at it.
And it's not only just the ground balls. There are choppers involved where he'll come in on the infield grass, and
he'll sometimes take ground balls while on his knees.
Yep. You bring up such a great point, Chris. You know, the bottom line is, and there is nothing that is more tried and true than the old adage about practice makes perfect. Now, you're not going to be perfect. We know that. Brandon Phillips is not perfect. He'll make an error from time to time. But, man, if there's one thing you say to the kids, and it doesn't have to be sports, it could be music, it could be so many different things, your academics, but you're not going to get better at it without practicing at it. And Brandon Phillips is a practice machine. Joey Votto is a practice machine.
You know, the 3 shortstops that I have been able to watch over the years and played with Ozzie Smith, I could say 4 with Concepcion, and Barry Larkin, and Brandon Phillips, who's now a converted shortstop over to second base. But, I mean, their work habits were all very similar. I mean, they just worked their tails off every day. And you're thinking, man, how boring must it be to take ground ball after ground ball like Barry Larkin and Concepcion on the turf at Riverfront Stadium? How boring can that be? But they did it over and over again. So when you needed an out in the 9th inning with the winning run or the tying run at third base, you really wanted that ball to be hit to one of those guys.
That one skips by Frazier into left field, and Nunez is aboard. Second time he has hit the ball right on the nose tonight.
Rocket shot on a couple of hops, and you know, you stick your glove down there and you hope it goes in.
And he scored a base hit. Really enjoyed that interview you had with Ron Roth tonight before the game. For those of you that may have missed it.
Well, we've gotten to know Ron over the year. He's a very engaging guy, funny, has some great stories to tell, and has been, I didn't realize it has been 36 years that he has been in the scorer's booth as the official scorer or as the assistant scorer next to Glenn Sample. Man, that's a lot of decisions. A lot of second guessing goes along with that job. You're sitting at home, got your feet up on the ottoman, you're watching that ground ball, and it's like, ha! I could have made that play. How can you give him a hit on that? Or you have pitchers calling you up on the phone after the game saying, hey, you know, if you change that to an error, it saves me 5 earned runs.
And they get those calls.
And you know what 5 earned runs means in arbitration?
You're right. And they get more and more of those calls. This official score is all around baseball. Runner takes off. Barnhart's throw is high. That was stolen against Anthony DeSclafani right there by Nunez. Suzuki has bounced out to DeJesus, and he singled into left field his last time up. Twins have 9 hits against DeSclafani tonight, and they own a 3-1 lead. Runner at second, 1 out. DeSclafani has basically been pitching in some kind of jam, some stickier than others. But the Twins have had at least 1 base runner in every inning. And 2 base runners in all but 1 inning, excluding the current 6 which they're batting.
You're kind of seeing tonight the formula that the Twins have used this year to stay in the race in the American League Central. I mean, nothing flashy. You look up and you say, well, they've got 9 hits already. They just kind of keep coming after you a little bit, all the way up and down the lineup.
Bouncer to Suarez. He'll play to first, and that's a second out of the inning. Advancing on to third, Nunez, and Santana coming up. Thursday is the final day of voting for both the National and American League All-Star teams. You can vote 35 times on the 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot. Go to Reds.com to do that. Where's Todd Frazier closing fast? Will it be fast enough? He was 2.5 million votes the last time we received results behind the Cardinals' Matt Carpenter. That was down to 63,000 votes when they were released most recently yesterday. There's a spread. Not only that, Frazier was 1.5 million votes behind Chris Bryant of the Cubs, and now he leads Bryant by better than 2 million votes. Well, you put a challenge to the Reds fans, man, and I mean unlike any other organization, and the numbers don't lie. Just look up in recent history when they're doing all this stuff online. Votto as the final player a number of years ago. Talk about Joe Nuxhall all the time. When fans can vote for the Ford Frick Award to go into baseball's Hall of Fame in the broadcast wing. And now here again with Frazier. So after the walk to Santana, once more, DeSclafani tries to get Hughes to end the inning, which he did with 2 on in the 4th. That walk, by the way, the intentional pass, the first walk tonight by this Reds rookie. And like the last time up with 2 on to Hughes, he falls behind 2-0. Not sure that Mr. Hughes liked that call. Foul ball. Anthony DeSclafani didn't like that call as a runner takes second base. Payoff pitch. Handled by DeJesus Jr. and the inning is over. 2 more stranded. DeSclafani gets through 6 tonight, allowing only 3 runs. He needs some offense behind him.
But on one night, they all happen in one place, and that place is right here. Don't miss the 86 All-Star Game. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday, July 14th on Fox. Let's give you another All-Star spotlight. Home Run Derby actually started in Minneapolis at the Metrodome in 1985. And the Reds' Dave Parker was the inaugural winner with 6 home runs in that contest. Let's fast forward to last year. This time at Target Field, Todd Frazier took home second place, surprising everyone, losing to 2-time champion Yoenis Cespedes. And unless, barring anything unforeseen, Todd Frazier's going to be in that home run derby here at GABP with a new format, by the way, guys. He says he likes the new format.
And for those of you that haven't heard about it, they have a seeding, brackets like you would see in the NCAA basketball tournament, and they put those together by how many home runs a player has at a certain cutoff date. Then they rank them 1 through 8, 4 from each league. As DeJesus bangs one into center field, Reds down 3-1. Each player will get 5 minutes to hit as many home runs as he can. They will be granted a timeout. They will be granted additional time depending on the length of their home runs. And there will be a stoppage of the clock once you get down under a minute. If a player hits a home run, it'll start back up again if they hit anything else but a home run. So there's a lot going on, and you're able to read a lot about it, hear a lot about it. That's for sure. And we're looking forward to it. And I'm not a gambling man, but I certainly like Todd Frazier's chances in his home ballpark. And he will be in it. It's a shame we're not going to see Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah, it really is, because he would be interesting to see, too. I really believe that they ought to use some juiced up balls for that contest.
I mean, why these guys need help?
I'm sure they can find them somewhere. There's got to be some left over.
Oh, they definitely.
I mean ones that are wound tight.
Well, that gets back to the old happy Haitian theory. That was a theory for many, many years ago in baseball when home run records were falling. And of course, this is before anything was ever brought up about performance enhancing drugs. But there actually was a theory where they were making the baseballs in the country of Haiti. And some of you may remember the dreadful Papa Doc Duvalier when he was overthrown down in Haiti. And the Haitians were so happy that he was gone and all this oppression in their country that those working in the factories were more excited and they were wounding the balls tighter.
Well, they were and putting the covers on tighter and because they were hand stitched.
Yes,
that's where the enthusiasm helped out.
I don't know if you buy into that or not, but it's been thrown around.
But I know that they could probably make some balls, especially for this home run hitting contest. Because you want to see them in the upper deck.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, they ought to say Pro V1 on them. And just let it rip.
Well, they better give out hard hats in the outfield if they did that. Three-1 to Joey Votto, leadoff man aboard. And a broken bat fly ball into center field. And coming on to get it. Sounded like he broke his bat. That's out number 1 in the inning. Maybe it got that off the end of the bat a little bit. What do you think?
It sure didn't take off very much, and the outfielder immediately started coming in. They've got a better feel of it down there. You always wonder, you come to a ball game, end of the bat, you're right, and you're wondering, you see a ball go up in the air and you're saying you're sitting in the upper deck and you can't really tell how far it's going. First thing you do is look at the outfielders. They will tell you where it's going.
All right, well, here is Todd Frazier, one mighty crack of the bat away from tying this baby up. We're only in the bottom of the 6th inning, late getting started tonight. 2 hours exactly. Scheduled start time of 7:10. They didn't start until 9:10. That didn't stop the Long family from hanging around tonight. Some friends from out our way. Wendy and Greg and their main man JD. I've had to coach against JD in every sport, and it is not pretty. Coaching against him.
Well, maybe you could.
I had him one time in the All-Star game as his coach. Now, being his coach, it's nice. He's getting after people. Swinging a foul ball back.
Well, we've got some pizza up here. Maybe you can offer him a couple of slices.
I should have given him some before we played his basketball team this year. Slowed him down. The guy's an animal. My son Luke likes being on JD's team. All right, another visit to the mound. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes on Frazier.
Yeah, there aren't all that many hitters that a catcher will take the time to run out there on, but you don't want to make a mistake. I mean, if you're the Twins and you're up by 2 and you got a runner on, you're facing Frazier, he's not the guy you want to make a mistake to. You want to make sure that you guys, both of you, agree on how you're going to do it, and not just this pitch, but the following pitch.
Oh, that's strike 3 called, and I'm not sure Frazier's buying it. He was called out on strikes last night and was unhappy.
Away, 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 and in, and maybe too far in. You know, you usually don't get much margin off the plate inside. That's a cutter that Frazier thought was going to hang off the plate and never move. But the whole idea of that pitch is to fool him into not swinging. And the reason you don't get that call very often off the plate is because the umpire is sitting right on that inside corner, right over the shoulder of the catcher.
Right into the shift, and that'll be a force out to end the inning. We go to the 7th. Twins lead 3-1. First inning, second batter of the game, Torrey Hunter, along with the left, his 12th and a 1-0 lead. 1 inning later, Reds could not cut down Nunez trying to score on the ground ball to first. That made it 2-0. Reds got on the board. A Eugenio Suarez, a home run to straightaway center. His second of the year, continuing his hot hitting. And Minnesota would get one more on singles by Dozier and Hunter. A sac fly by Mauer in the 5th. So DeSclafani climbs the mound here in the 7th, trailing 3-1. Top of the order, Dozier, Hunter, Mauer. 4th time through the batting order now for DeSclafani. Dozier 1 of 3, single to begin the 5th, and scored on the fly ball from Mauer.
You know, we've talked about DeSclafani from the very beginning of the game, Tom, about how consistent he's been, really better than probably as advertised, or at least as expected. For a guy who was a rookie, I mean, he didn't pitch very much at all last year for the Marlins. He's had now 16 starts, and he has pitched at least 6 innings in 11 of those 16 starts. And that's not what you normally get when you get a young pitcher.
Going down the left field line, that is a fair ball. And this will be a 2-base hit for Dozier. So after keeping this guy pretty quiet outside of that home run ball against Leak last night, DeSclafani struck him out twice tonight.
Well, you know, up and down is what you get with a rookie pitcher. First 4 starts, really, really good. Next 4 starts, stumbled a little bit. And he's come back very strong in his last 7. I'll tell you what, Dozier, I'm convinced all you need to do really is keep the ball down. I mean, yeah, if you get it up, he's going to hit a line drive somewhere or a home run like he did last night. But if you keep it down, he gets himself out. The problem is you can't keep every pitch down. So he's very good at hitting mistakes.
We got a pair of professional hitters here back to back. In Hunter and Mauer. Hunter a home run, a strikeout, and a single on a hit and run. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Boy, DeSclafani thought that was a strike. And Hunter is very, you know, he was the guy that did the hit and run, perfectly executed into right field last time up. Pretty good at hitting it the other way.
One and 2 on Torrey Hunter. DeSclafani, a long look in, and with a runner at second, they're having to go through a series of signs, of course, and now DeSclafani wanting to reload. Still looking in there, and now Hunter has waited long enough. A double by Dozier to begin this Minnesota seventh, with the Twins already leading 3-1. 1-2 strikes a count on Torrey Hunter. And that one will get away from Tucker Barnhart. That'll be the second wild pitch of the game on DeSclafani, and now the runner stands at third with none out.
Well, he wanted to throw a slider, and he wanted to make sure that if he missed, he did not miss it in the zone. That's a ball that's really got to be blocked out there, because it's a ball that is expected to be down and away by the catcher, and just got by Barnhart. That's a tough break for DeSclafani.
Rain beginning to fall. First time we've seen rain all night long tonight. It's a good effort there by Tucker Barnhart, but able to get to the foul ball. For those of you that weren't with us, you know, the weather folks kept telling the powers that be that rain was coming, and really we sat here from 10 minutes after 7 until 10 minutes after 9, and it did not rain a drop. And now here we are, nearly 10 minutes after 11, almost 2 hours after we got this one underway, and for the first time the rain is indeed coming down. Gone swinging is Hunter, and that's a big out for DeSclafani. That's his 7th strikeout tonight. So how to bring up Joe Mauer. That fella's still working on getting his head through the place where it's supposed to go through there. You might want to get away from being buried under that plastic. That's not a good move.
It's hard when you try to get your head through the slot made for your arm.
You're right. You're right.
Unless you have 2 heads, then you need to do it that way.
And now he's finding out from one of his buddies that we're talking about him on the tube. Now here's Mauer. He has struck out, single to center, and fly to center. That drove in a run, a sac fly in the 5th. You know, speaking of strikeouts, I read a great story about Mauer. 3 weeks ago, they set up for him to meet this guy named Paul Feiner. Did you read this story?
No, I did not.
And they set it up. Told you yesterday that Mauer's from St. Paul, grew up right there in the Twin Cities. Incredible high school player. We talked about it yesterday. They set up this meeting with this fella named Paul Feiner. Paul Feiner was the only person that ever struck out Joe Mauer one time in high school. And that's exactly how many times he struck out in high school. One time. Wow. Twins found out about it, set up the meeting. He's just walked on 4 in a row. It was in a state tournament of Mauer's junior year. In the game, he had already gone 2 for 2. He'd hit a home run. Game was tied at 1. And his 3rd time up, Feiner from nearby Elk River High School spun a breaking ball up there. Nobody knew it was the first time that Mauer had ever struck out in a high school game. And, of course, no one knew it would be the only time he struck out in a high school game. That's doing some hit.
That's pretty good research on your part, too.
Oh, yeah. That was all the Twins.
That's incredible.
It really is.
I'm not so sure that walk by DeSclafani broke his heart right there. They got a double play ball set up. Well, Barr is running on the pitch. Do a little hit and run, I guess.
Well, Plouffe has hit into a pair of double plays tonight already. So perhaps that's why they start the runner. DeSclafani, a season high 118 pitches in the game. His prior high was 113. And now it's 0-2 on Plouffe.
Well, he struck out 7. That also ties him for the most of any one game this year.
Coming down even harder now. We are in the 7th. And the Twins with a 3-1 lead, and Plouffe trying to get some of that rain off the bill of his helmet. They get one, and that's all they're going to get. Very softly hit Tapper to the right side. That will plate Dozier to make it 4-1 Minnesota.
Well, sometimes you just hit it so softly that you get a good break out of it. That's what Plouffe does right there. I'm not sure what. Well, maybe Maurer didn't think that he was on the bag or had ever touched the bag, so Maurer finally comes off the field. Or maybe he thought he'd just hang out there and no one would notice.
It's worth a shot.
Tough to hide that guy. Large human being.
Yes, he is. So now Rosario, 1 of 3 in the game. He singled back in the 4th inning. That's a big 4th run in this game for Minnesota. Brian Price trying to watch these young rookie pitchers in his rotation grow up a little bit, challenging them perhaps with an extra inning here, an extra inning there. We've seen it recently with Michael Lorenzen, and perhaps a little bit tonight with DeSclafani. That might be it. As that one is ripped into right field, that will be it. Here comes Brian Price. He'll come out of the dugout, and DeSclafani will not survive the 7th inning. So be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Right-hander Bert Badenhop will come on to pitch. Taking over for DeSclafani. Twins with 2 on, 2 out, leading 4-1 in the 7th. We're back in a moment.
Cincinnati Reds.
Well, on the next Reds Weekly, Chuck Harmon was the first African-American to wear a Reds uniform, and now they're going to honor him with a statue. What a great story that is. The All-Star Spotlight will highlight the Hall of Famer Joe Morgan. Pete Rose will weigh in on the 40-year anniversary of the 1975 World Champion Reds. Jeff Pecoro, Doug Flynn, your host for Reds Weekly tomorrow at 6 on Fox Sports Ohio. DeSclafani, 6 2/3, 10 and now 11 base hits. 4 runs, 3 earned, and hoping that Bert Badenhop can get the final out.
That's a look of going back over your pitches in this game, batter by batter, and thinking, what 1 or 2 pitches could I have done differently to have maybe a little better outcome?
Man, Twins really aggressive here tonight. They had a hit and run on the very first pitch.
That looks like Paul Molitor's favorite play. I mean, he does it an awful lot, and they've done it up and down the lineup. It doesn't matter, because sometimes you've got maybe 1 or 2 combinations in a lineup that make sense for a hit and run. I think Molitor uses everybody. So, hey, this is the kind of baseball we've got to play.
They're not going to outslug anybody. I mean, that is the one thing. We just saw a big flash of lightning. Under the most optimum of conditions, you would only hear, well, you could hear thunder as far as 12 miles away. But under normal circumstances, you will only hear it within 7 miles. We've not heard thunder. And now we do. That one will scoot into right field, a base hit. And that will bring in another run. Throw goes into third, safe there. And lucky it hit the third base coach for the Reds. Because if not, it's another run.
And I guarantee you that Gene Glenn is getting it from that dugout over there. Gene Glenn is a Minnesota guy.
And a good man.
And he's from Mankato, Minnesota. And he played a little hockey growing up. And he does a little kick save right here. Didn't know he was going to do it. This ball gets by Frazier. And right off the leg of the third base coach. See him limping away right there. Well done, Gino.
So the base hit, the run scoring single by Nunez. That's his 3rd hit tonight. He did not start the opener of this series last night. Pretty safe bet he'll be in a lineup tomorrow. Second and third, 2 outs, 5-1, Minnesota in front. And that's a ground ball base hit that'll drive in 2 more, and Minnesota busting this one wide open. So DeSclafani's line got very ugly.
Couple of ground ball base hits. The first one went right side, right by Joey Votto. That one right back up the middle. Thirteen hits now for Minnesota.
DeSclafani charged with 6 runs, 5 of them earned. turns out all the runs are earned runs against DeSclafani. Swing and a miss. Barnhart will get there. He better cut it loose, and he does just in time to get the hustling Santana. 8 men back, 4 of them scored. Twins lead 7-1. You use hashtag Ohio Data Strong Fan, and you might just see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, a lot more breathing room now for Phil Hughes. The rain appears to have stopped. That's good news.
And the grounds crew, who were seemingly on the steps of the dugout there when that rain started coming down, looks like they've gone back into their little cave.
Boy, they had a big league set up in the old ballpark over at Riverfront. You know, right there, behind home plate.
Sure did.
Boy, that was sweet down there.
You sound like you spent some time.
I was down there all the time. I loved hanging out down there.
I mean, is that where you looked through the window?
Yeah.
Right behind home plate?
Yeah, but when you got down there, you weren't looking at the game. You were hanging out batting cages under there. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We used to go down there during the game. I mean, that's how much has changed. I mean, you can't get near the Reds batting cages now with a 12 gauge. And man, that was so cool. Underneath the blue seats, you know, they used to maneuver them around a lot for football, and God, those are good memories, man. Some fly ball in the right field. Look at Hunter, 7-1 game. I've been in the big leagues almost 20 years.
I think he really got fooled by that ball. I thought he thought that he had it the whole way, and the wind is now blowing hard in from right field, just killed that ball. I mean, it went up and it looked like it hit a wall of wind and then just came straight down, because he's kind of cruising after it for so long. I remember where he touches it is where it counts, where the ball is, not where his feet were when he made contact with the baseball. Marlon Burns gets a chance to get his first knock of the night.
Bird followed by Barnhart and Suarez. Reds batting here in the 7th, down 7-1. And he puts a jolt into that one deep left center field at 7-2. Well, he hit that ball a long way.
He sure did. Give a guy an extra breath.
Couple of solo home runs for the Reds tonight. That's the sum of their scoring. Solo home run by Eugenio Suarez in the 3rd, and now a solo blast by Marlin here in the 7th. Foul by Tucker Barnhart. You know, tomorrow night at 9:30, if you happen to be downtown tomorrow night, the 30-story tall image of a vintage Red Stockings player will start its 2-week run on the Carew Tower building. The projected image, and it'll be on the east side of that iconic downtown Cincinnati building, will be featured nightly through July the 15th. I hear that thing's really going to be cool. Big ceremony to kick it off at 9:30 tomorrow night. Phil Castellini will be there. The city manager, Harry Black. Reds mascots, Mr. Redlegs and Rosie Red, will be there, as will Greg Power, the CEO of Belvedere Corporation, which owns and manages a Carew Tower. That'll be sweet.
Hey, they are really dressing up this town. I mean, every time you go downtown, you see something new. Some new decoration. I mean, if you haven't gotten a fever yet, all it takes is a walk to Fountain Square, go downtown, take a look around downtown, and I mean, it's more than just the All-Star game.
See the top of that building. It's tough to see right now at night. Of course, the Reds cap there at the top and the mustache. You know, they have the little mustaches all over downtown now.
Oh, I've got a bow tie tonight.
I mean, you are a big leaguer.
From Phil Castellini himself, with a Reds logo and an All-Star mustache on it.
There's ball 4 to Barnhart. I mean, when the big man Phil Castellini comes in and hand delivers to you an All-Star Vineyard Vines, no less, bow tie. I mean,
you're going good, huh?
That means Bow Tie Tuesday's got it going on.
Well, he didn't leave you out, as I can tell.
Well,
you're bought into Bow Tie Tuesday in a big way.
Yours is the All-Star edition with the little mustache on there, and that red, white, and blue stripe top of the hat. I mean, that thing is nice.
You'll see this again and again. Hope you like it.
I do. Reds down 7-2, but a long way to go. We're just in the 7th inning. And nobody out. A Miller time moment. Eugenio Suarez in the 3rd inning. Launched one nearly 420 feet to straightaway center. Some of the brethren from the National League Central playing into the night tonight. 11-inning games for both the Cardinals, still playing, tied at 1 against the White Sox in St. Louis. And tied at 4 in the 11th are the Pirates and the Tigers in the Motor City. Suarez out of there on strikes. 4 of those in the game by Hughes.
Well, I'll tell you what, Phil Hughes can make you a believer out of command and a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Skip Schumacher to bat for Burt Badenop, who goes to third, allows 2 hits and a run, 1 strikeout.
Now, this game may be separated by 5 runs, but elsewhere in interleague play in the Central Division interleague, White Sox Cardinals, they're tied up at 1 in the 11th inning. And the Pirates and the Tigers are tied up at 4 in the 11th inning as well. Reds can use a big inning to tie it up at 7.
And another trip to the mound by Suzuki. Made a number of those tonight. The White Sox Cardinals game tonight, Chris Sale for the 8th consecutive time has struck out 10 or more batters in a game. That has only been done, what, 1 time in the history of baseball? I think it was Pedro Martinez.
That's amazing.
I can't believe Johnson or Ryan didn't do that.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Those are the top 2 strikeout pitchers in the history of the game by a mile. It's not by a little bit. Bert Blyleven sitting 1 booth over, has the 5th most strikeouts in the history of Major League Baseball. But Ryan and Johnson separate themselves from the pack by a long way. That man right there, a Hall of Famer, won nearly 300 games through a no-hitter, won a pair of world championships, took him forever to get in the Hall of Fame. There's a tapper back to the mound for the 2nd out of the inning. It was so interesting talking to Bert Blyleven very early before the game today. You know, he was born in the Netherlands. His mom and dad grew up together. They were best of friends since they were 13 years old. And as teenagers, their family survived through World War II. They got married. Bert was born in the Netherlands. His father came to Canada as they were looking for big, strong guys to work out on the farms in Canada. And he lived there until he was almost 7 when the family moved to California. And when he made the move to California, it was the first time Bert Blyleven had ever lived in a home that had indoor plumbing. And he was saying he can still remember to this day when they walked in that house in California and his mom and dad walked him into this room and all of a sudden pulled this lever and the toilet flush, and to think that that was in their house. They had an outhouse while they were living all those years in Canada. It's a long way from the Netherlands to the Baseball Hall of Fame, brother.
Well, you're not kidding about that. Didn't start playing until he was about 9 years old.
Yeah. 0-2 on Billy Hamilton.
Hey, you know, unless you start looking at his stats,
they're sick.
He started when he was 19 and he finished when he was 41, and he threw 242 complete games.
Yeah. How many shutouts? He had like the third or fourth most shutouts. In
60 shutouts.
Yeah.
60. I mean, he had 25 complete games in a year.
I remember when I was doing the Diamondbacks games, you know, a long time ago now, and his name came up. It was during interleague play, and the Twins were in. And, of course, all but, 3 of those years were in the American League. He spent 3 years with the Pirates, 1 year when they won the World Series in '79. But the rest of his seasons were spent in the American League. And I never really looked at his numbers until they came to town. And then you're like, how in the world is this guy getting 17% of the vote to get into the Hall of Fame? Booted by the shortstop. I think he realized by the time he caught it that Hamilton was going to be safe at first.
Well, they're going to give him a base hit because of that. I mean, most infielders are going to cheat up a little bit when Hamilton is around, and the shortstop Nunez is. But if you just wait for that extra hop, it's too late. Billy kind of running out of the box while he's swinging. I just like that approach just a whole lot better. I mean, part Brett Butler and part Ichiro. Now that will be all for Phil Hughes.
All right, Blaine Boyer will come on from the bullpen. Reds a couple of hits away from being right back in this thing. Sports Ohio. Please stick around for Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. That's coming up at the conclusion of this one. Can the Reds rally? They'll try to do so as Hughes leaves in favor of right-hander Blaine Boyer. 2 on, 2 out, 1 in. Twins lead by 5. We're in the 7th. A base hit into center field by DeJesus. That'll make it a 7-3 game as Barnhart scores, and now here come the big hitters.
Boy, that's a nice swing by Ivan DeJesus Jr. right there. Just gets a little first pitch breaking ball, not a lot on it. And just takes it right into right center field. Boy, you keep that swing going, you're going to get a lot of hits.
Votto, a dribbler, covering his Boyer, and a throw sails by him and into the dugout, which will score, I believe, another run. They're willing. That'll be a base hit by Votto. No RBI. And then a throwing error by the second baseman. So a second run will not score.
Now the reason DeJesus stays at third base is because he had not gotten to second at the time of the throw. It's two bases at the time of the throw. But a three-run game, and Frazier is the tying run coming to the plate now.
All right, 7-4 game. Frazier digging in. And that one gets away. It'll plate another run. That makes it 7-5 here in the seventh inning.
Boy, I mean, the wheels have come off this inning. That pitch not even close by Boyer.
All right, Frazier still the tying run at the plate. Votto stands at third base. 2 outs in the inning. 4 runs have scored. Oh, Frazier looking for the downs on that cut.
Well, this all started with the home run by Marlon Byrd, a pitch after. The high fly ball down the right field line, barely foul. Was not caught by Torrey Hunter, the right fielder. If he comes up with that catch, the Reds go down with really nothing in this inning.
That one thrown so far past the catcher, it ricocheted off the bricks and came right back to Suzuki.
Like cricket. Glenn Boyer had been pretty dependable. I mean, the first 4 or 5 times he got the ball since May, he's been throwing holds up there, and he is the middle reliever to be able to nail down holds. He had a blown save his last time out just a couple of days ago, right before the Twins came in here to Cincinnati. They played at Milwaukee. Veteran right-hander has been around a while now. He's started with Atlanta, was with Arizona, a year with St. Louis. If you're wild out of the zone, you can be wild in the zone.
2-1 to Todd Frazier. 7-5 ball game. Oh boy, he jumped on that pitch, tomahawked and foul out of play up the third base line. Another good cut by Frazier, fouls it off. Price's team fell behind 7-1 after a 4-run top of the 7th. They've answered with 4 in the bottom of the inning. Frazier hangs around. That was a tough pitch. Once more the 2-2 on Todd Frazier. Broken back. A foul ball stays alive. Two on Frazier. That is a foul ball. Pretty good battle here, Frazier and Boyer. This will be the 9th pitch coming up. Where did it cross the bag? Foul ground immediately. Calls the umpire. Frazier looking for a base hit and a run batted in. Of course, he'd be thrilled with home run number 26. And that would tie this baby up. There'll be a 10th pitch in this at bat. And look, win, lose, or draw, this is another aspect where you've seen Frazier just improve before your very eyes.
Well, he's making contact on those pitches that are down and away, probably off the plate, not even strikes, but he's still staying alive with those instead of swinging through them.
Straight up in the air. And Boyer will win the battle inside this war. Boy, Suzuki had to battle that one. But the Reds get 4. And we got a ways to go here now. 2-run game.
Jim Day. We're showing you the top moments of the month of June, and we are down to number 1. And we have chosen this because not often you see a 2-home run game, and not often when you see them on back-to-back days. June 16th at Detroit, Frazier does just that. next day here at Great American Ballpark against Detroit. Home run. But what capped it off was a 13-inning walk-off grand slam. So not only back-to-back days of 2 home run games, but culminated with a walk-off granny in the 13th, your top moment of June. And we are 10 minutes away from July, I believe.
July the 1st, and I want to send out a happy 12th birthday to our little baby girl, Ella Mae Brenneman. I cannot wait to get home and see her first thing tomorrow morning. Good Lord willing. Cannot believe 12 years old. And for all those dads out there, you know, that first little girl, you are D-U-N. Done. J.J. Hoover takes over on the mound. He replaces Badenhop, who followed D. Sclafani. We are in the 8th, and the Twins have a 2-run lead. Broken bat pulled foul by Kenny Vargas on the pinch hit for Boyer, pardon me. Vargas gone swinging to begin the Minnesota 8th.
Good job by J.J. Hoover, just throwing it right above the spot where Vargas is going to be able to hit. A large human being right there, 290 pounds. You don't see too many 290-pound baseball players.
J.J. 30 consecutive games without allowing an earned run. Of course, he had the long consecutive scoreless inning streak 2 years ago, and he had that great rookie year. Then we know about falling on the hard times last season. Led all major league relievers in losses. Found himself sent back to the minor leagues. But you know, the one guy that never stopped believing in J.J. Hoover is Brian Price. He was convinced that he being Brian Price, that Hoover would come back strong this year. Yes, he needed a little bit of nurturing early in the year. He wanted to be very careful not to put Hoover in positions where, you know, his confidence could get shattered very early in the year. And now all of a sudden, Hoover has become, over the last month and a half, among the best right-handed setup men in all of Major League Baseball. Yeah. And that is not a stretch to make that statement.
There's no question. And it's kind of an injustice of the way that baseball has evolved, that as good a year as J.J. Hoover is having, he's having an all-star year, but you never hear his name mentioned at all. I mean, the pitchers that make the all-star team are usually starters and closers.
Yeah, it's only been the last year or two. Of course, you know, I'm not so sure he didn't start with the former Reds left-handed reliever Arthur Rhodes.
Yep.
He was having such an incredible statistical year. That season he made the all-star team for the Reds, that he was placed on the team. And now within the last year or two, we have seen a couple of setup guys end up on a roster. Not a lot. Torrey Hunter said the same thing.
That is a yacker. That's a Bert Blyleven yacker right there.
Then you come back with 94 down around the shins. Doggone it. Want to see that kid over there make the play.
I thought he had it.
Yeah. Oh, man, he's hot. Gotta like the fire.
Those are the guys that ended up with
it. That ball is stung there, boy. Say, Hunter can still play now. I don't care how old he is. This guy can still play.
He can still run a little bit, too. Yeah, that was the same type of pitch that J.J. Hoover threw to Vargas, but he got that down just a little bit too low. And tried to go up the ladder, but threw it letter high instead of neck high. Difference is a strikeout or a double.
Jump.
2-0 on Joe Mauer. Two and one to Mauer. Hunter out at second base, and a breaking ball back up the middle. And there's a base hit. Boy, that's a big hit by Mauer. 7-5 goes to 8-5. 2 out double, 2 out single.
We've seen a lot of ground ball hits tonight by the Twins. Now Hunter's wasn't. That was a line drive over the head of the right fielder. Those 2 out RBIs, man.
And a ground ball to short by Plouffe. That'll end the inning. 2 out double, 2 out single produces a run. Reds are down 3. They bat in the 8th. Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live is presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. No television tomorrow. Off day Thursday. We come your way on Friday night. First at 3 with the Milwaukee Brewers coming to town. 6:30 with the Reds Live on Friday. The Fox Network will carry Saturday's game. And then Reds Live back here on Fox Sports Ohio Sunday at 12:30. You see the pitching matchups. Young man still getting after it. And good morning, young man. 12 o'clock a.m. on this now Wednesday, July the 1st. A little more than 12 hours from now, these two teams will be teeing them up right here at the old ballpark for the series finale. Sleep fast. New pitcher now takes over by the way. For the for the Minnesota Twins, I beg your pardon. And that is Casey Fiend.
Fiend has really found his own here in Minnesota. I mean, he was all over the place as far as transactions, released, picked up, put on the waiver wire, DFA'd. And he's become a real go-to guy late in the game when the Twins are winning to try to look for that hole. He gets big out there.
Pardon me, Chris. They have that shift. That's twice Jay Bruce tonight has hit a ball right back up through the middle like you teach guys to do, and standing right there as a shortstop. You cannot tell me, and Chris, you and I talk about this all the time, you cannot tell me that does not get into a hitter's head.
Well, it's got to.
That's 2 hits tonight for Jay Bruce.
Two hits maybe 10 years ago or 4 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, at some point, I mean, if the defense is adjusting to you, isn't the next step the batter adjusts to the defense? Or I mean, if a pitcher is pitching you a certain way, you're going to change, right?
You're right.
Or are you just going to continue the same thing and get yourself out? Well, you've got to ask yourself the same thing about defense.
Straight up in the air. Off the bat of Marlon Byrd. He homered his last time up, 2 out. Tucker Barnhart has been on base twice tonight. A fly ball to left, a single to center, walked and scored in the 4-run 7th. Reds are down by 3 and they're running out of outs. 1-1. Other games still in progress. Angels lead the Yankees in the 7th, 2-1. Arizona 3-2 lead over the Dodgers. At the top of the 7th inning, tell you there are a lot of rumors that the Dodgers are very, very concerned about their pitching. And they're also concerned that Zach Greinke, who when he signed that big contract with the Dodgers, can opt out of that deal at the end of this season. And there were rumors all over the last couple of days that the Dodgers could be hot on the trail of one Johnny Cueto. Now whether or not the Reds decide to make that move as he goes right through the wickets, that'll be an error on Mauer. And that'll keep this inning alive for Eugenio Suarez.
There's that daylight. I'll tell you, it's uncanny. If you give that baseball just a little bit of daylight between the leather of your glove and that dirt, it will find it every time. Well, I was talking to one of the scouts that is here in attendance, Tom, who told me that he just came from watching the Dodgers minor leagues. Now, he's not from the Reds organization. He's from another team that has some pitchers to deal. And that team doesn't have any pitchers like Johnny Cueto. But he said, I was just on an assignment to see one of the Dodgers minor league teams, and I'm going back to see another minor league team next week. So if the Dodgers are making calls, they're making them to multiple teams to find out what's out there.
I mean, look, when you're spending the kind of money the Dodgers are spending, second place ain't going to cut it.
You're right.
And they're down to a half-game lead in their division. Arizona beat them last night, winning in a tight one tonight. Brian Pena on the pinch hit for J.J. Hood.
That could be a big error right there by Maurer. Would have been a third out of the inning. And if Brian Pena can get something to his liking, you just never know.
Oh, 1 to Brian, and it's taken outside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Brian Pena.
Looking for his first dinger of the year.
Oh, Pena thought that was high.
Or outside.
So now Pena behind Fiend at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Barnhart the runner at second. And Suarez, who has another multi-hit game. Home run and a single in 4 at-bats tonight for Eugenio. And the 1-2 pitch on Pena is a fastball outside. Minnesota has their closer, who's perfect on the year, Glenn Perkins, getting loose in the bullpen. And a tapper to the right side, and Dozier the feed to Maurer to end the inning. Reds strand 2. We head to the 9th. Twins lead by 3.
you got to do it quickly because it only goes through the end of this game. Go to Reds.com/FSOhio right now. Use the code FSOhio15 and get your $10 view tickets. The offer is good only during the game, so get those tickets right now. And guys, good news on the rehab front. Raisel Iglesias made his first rehab start tonight for the Louisville Bats. 3 innings pitched, just 1 hit, no runs. He did walk a batter, but struck out 3 through 43 pitches and 27 strikes. So has quite the comeback from an oblique injury. And Brian Price has been very open, saying they would like to see 2 or 3 rehab games for Raisel Iglesias because they would like to bring him back to the big club as a starter and not a reliever. So Raisel Iglesias, 1 rehab start in the books, and it was a good one.
All right, Jimbo. Eddie Rosario to lead things off, and taking over on the mound for the Reds is right-hander Carlos Contreras.
4th pitcher of the game, DeSclafani went 6 2/3. A third of an inning by Badenhop. JJ pitched 1, gave up a run, and now Carlos Contreras, game number 9 for him. Earned run average still sub 1. So was that batting average against.
How does Contreras do it?
Well, Contreras, the one thing that he really could concentrate on a little bit more, same as last year, had problems with the bases on balls. This year, he's walked 5 in 9 innings, which is too many, but he has a really good changeup, and he's throwing it back-to-back pitches right there to get the hitter way out in front.
They appeal, and no, says Bob Davidson. Two and 2 on Rosario, leading off the Minnesota 9th. And there's a strikeout. Or is it? No, foul ball.
Well, it went into the dirt. If it had been tipped and went right into the glove, obviously that would have been a foul tip and a strikeout. And now the home plate umpire, David Rackley, is going to go down to third base and ask Bob Davidson, did you see anything different right there? Did it go directly into the glove, or is it a foul ball in the dirt? And they're going to ring him up.
Bob Davidson.
He got it right, believe it or not. I mean, not believe it or not, but I think Davidson, from 100 feet away at game speed, got that one right.
Bob Davidson now 62 years young. "35 years, man, as an umpire in Major League Baseball." Some may remember when he resigned back in 1999 as part of a labor negotiation strategy, then returned to professional umpiring and had to make his way back into the major leagues. He resigned in 1999. He did not get a chance to come back into Major League Baseball until 2007. People forget about that. I mean, but you talk about an extensive walking away to go to bat for your union. I mean, that was one of the big hits of all time. Is Bob Davidson for, you know, almost an entire decade was not a major league umpire. When he came back in 2003, he was an umpire in the Midwest League.
Yep.
It should be noted he's a Minnesota guy. In fact, he is a member of the University of Minnesota Duluth Athletic Hall of Fame.
There you have it.
1-0 on Suzuki.
Words of encouragement right there by Barnhart. Or he could have just said, hey, remember that guy Babe Ruth? He's not around anymore. Throw it over the plate.
Fastball strike there, 2-1. Two-hour rain delay to get started. And the game itself working on 3 hours and 10 minutes. We are in the 9th inning. Minnesota with an 8-5 lead. Reds will have a top of the order coming up when they bat in the last of the ninth. Fly ball, long run for Jay Bruce. And it's out of play.
Reds seem to be obsessed with Nunez. That's Butch Davis, the first base coach. He's been around a while.
Back-to-back walks with one out in the inning by Contreras, precisely what you talked about a moment ago. And now Jeff Pico, the Reds pitching coach, will come out to visit him.
Yeah, and I'm really not so certain that it's Contreras' inability to throw the ball over the plate, because I've watched this guy throw bullpens before, and it seems like his control is there, but I think that he's just kind of a little bit shy about getting hit. And you have to be a little more fearless than that. Trust your stuff, so to say. Maybe that's what Jeff Pico's telling him. I mean, his pitches move. He gets a lot of awkward swings. Sometimes guys just don't feel like they want their pitches to be hit, and they start nibbling around on the corners. Well, you get yourself in enough hitters counts, and you'll find out what it's like to get hit.
have to give Jeff Pico a great deal of credit. I mean, here he is, where the Reds virtually have had at least 3, sometimes more than that, rookie starters in their rotation. And we wondered before this season began what the Reds rotation was going to look like after Homer Bailey went down with an injury. They traded away Matt Latos. They traded away an all-star from a year ago in Alfredo Simon. And the starting rotation has clearly been one of the strengths of this Reds club so far this year. And Pico has to gain some level of credit for that.
I think you're right. Well, of course, he's got a lot of background in development of pitchers. I think Mac Jenkins, the assistant pitching coach, although you don't have that moniker this year, gets a lot of credit as well.
Well, that's a really nice play right there by Suarez. That ball took a bad hop, the hop before it got to him. And he still hung with it. All right, top of the order coming up. Reds down by 3, bottom of the 9th. The dealers, proud sponsor of the Cincinnati Reds. No television tomorrow. Take a peek ahead to the weather. Expecting a beautiful day tomorrow. Brought to you by Local 12 WKRC Cincinnati. 75 degrees first pitch. Low humidity, mostly sunny skies. Come on down to the yard. Johnny Cueto will get the ball tomorrow. Now here's a guy who so far has been perfect. And I do mean perfect. Glenn Perkins, 24 of 24 in save chances. Look at the walks. 31 innings, 4 of them. Perkins has a strike percentage of 71% so far this year. That's the 4th highest out of 159 qualified relievers in baseball. If you're wondering what is the league average, it would be 64%. And when you know it, he walks in the gate and throws back-to-back balls to Billy Hamilton.
Oh, that's okay for the Reds right here.
Sure.
Billy Hamilton needs to get on base. They're down by 3. That you know, the interesting thing really about Perkins is that the combination of a hard-throwing left-hander and who throws strikes is not usually something you use in the same sentence. Look,
oh my goodness. That ball found him or caught him.
Sometimes you're just living right.
I would imagine that would force a big exhale or 2. And one comes right back at you. Here's De Jesus. Ivan's had a nice game. Hit the ball very hard, all three times up. And interesting, of the 3 times he's really hit the ball in the screws, he's made 2 outs. He has 2 hits. One of them a bloop single.
Of course, he's in there because Brandon Phillips is injured. We still don't know if Brandon Phillips will be able to play tomorrow. He did take some infield today.
Well, Jim Day should have that full story coming up in Reds Live. It's a fly ball to right. They had him played perfectly. Reds are down to their final out.
You know, one of the things the Twins have done, and we talk about, you know, Paul Molitor, a Minnesota guy. Well, the pitcher on the mound is also a Minnesota guy. Former #1 pick from the University of Minnesota. They got him in 2004.
It took him a while, though, to find his place here.
It did. And again, sometimes left-handers take a little bit longer. He didn't make the major league. He made the major leagues at 23.
As a starter, if I remember right.
Yeah, but
correct?
Well, he came up as a reliever, but when he started getting in 2008 is when he was really in the big leagues. He was a starter. That's when you'd first probably remember him, because he had cups of coffee until then. But when they shifted him in 2010 as a 27-year-old to be a reliever, he was still struggling. Wasn't anywhere near the strike thrower that he is now. And that's really what's made the difference for him. Leading the league in saves, the 24 of them right now. They made no qualms about scouting right in their own backyard. And you wouldn't think that Minneapolis would be the place where you'd start.
No, but I'll tell you what, you know, I've talked to a lot of football coaches through the years who tell me that the state of Minnesota has a pile of great athletes that come out of there every single year.
Yeah, most of them are wearing skates, though, right?
Well, no, you know, you look at football, for example, just the high school, as we talked about the other night, where Maurer went. Maurer had already signed to play football as a quarterback at Florida State. Had a number of NFL players come out of just his high school alone. Well, you're right about the hockey thing. I mean, there's no question about that, as Votto fouls it out of play. But you know, you look around, especially in football, you look around at some of the big-time schools and even on NFL rosters, and you're going to see a lot of players from the state of Minnesota come out of there. One of the great Ohio State Buckeyes of all time, now in the NFL, all-pro linebacker, James Laurinaitis. Stud. There's ball 4. Now Frazier. And it's grounded foul. Frazier was a big out in that 7th inning, man. Reds had that thing down to 2 runs. Had a 10-pitch at bat against Blaine Boyer, who finally got him to end the inning. Votto will take second base on indifference by the Minnesota defense. Now on Frazier, and Votto advances to third as that pitch gets away from Suzuki. They are in the top of the 14th inning in Detroit. Pirates and the Tigers tied at 4. And Chris, you and I've talked to many times. You start drifting into that 14-15 area, it turns into 18-19.
The game takes on an energy of its own.
Yes.
And the batters walk up there like zombies.
Yes. 2-2 to Frazier. White Sox outlasted the Cardinals tonight 2-1. And I tell you, the team, I haven't seen them. I don't know if you have. But now back-to-back nights, the Houston Astros take it to the Kansas City Royals. Frazier is out of there on strikes, and the Reds are done. They fall in game 2 of this series. So the rubber game tomorrow with Johnny Cueto on the mound. 8-5, Minnesota wins it tonight. Our steel power tool performer, the veteran Torrey Hunter. He got the scoring started tonight for the Twins with a home run in the opening inning. Wound up with 3 hits on the night. Scored a couple of runs, added a double and a single. Reds Live coming up when we return. 8-5, Twins win it tonight.